Hey y'all, it's Lippy. I hope y'all's day's going good. It's 76, sunny, amazing outside. Wish I could be out there, but I can't. I'm in the sugar shack today. Hopefully today is the last day and I can take a couple of days off. Not sure how the blending's gonna work, but right now I'd love to be outside. But I have a rather, I wouldn't say odd video, but it never crossed my mind type of video. And a few of you ladies know that this is for y'all. I have been asked to make rice on the stovetop. I was asked again in yesterday's Spam fried rice video. How do I make fluffy, perfectly good rice, if you will, where it's not gummy, it's not sticky. And many of you may know how to cook rice on the stovetop. That's great. But this is for you ladies who have asked. It's very simple, but we're going to have another bonus because I was asked a couple of weeks ago and reminded that some of you want to know how to make drop biscuits. Y'all have seen my 3-4 biscuit recipes, same biscuit recipe I've always used. But some of you want to know how to make a drop biscuit. So I figured I would combine the two. The rice we're going to make, I'm just going to let it set up, put it in a freezer bag, and I've got enough rice for Buddy and I for a couple of weeks. I'll just scoop out what I want, re-steam it, all is good. The biscuits, I'm just going to make a small batch of drop biscuits, and we'll eat them this week for, you know, breakfast sandwiches or just a biscuit to go with our supper. So, get your pen and paper. If you need one, you shouldn't. And we're going to rock these two recipes out. Now, y'all just heard my stove. I have it set on 425, but we'll get to the biscuits second. Let's concentrate on the rice. Easy peasy. Now, you're going to need a lid to your pot, okay? Not one that's got the vent hole. If it has a vent hole, plug it with a piece of aluminum foil or a toothpick. So you're going to need a lid. And I'm just going to make 1.5 cups of raw rice, which will yield me 3 cups of cooked rice. This is a 1/2 cup measure. And that's all the measuring that we need for rice. So I've got 1.5 cups of raw rice. Now this is jasmine rice. I will always use jasmine rice, or I will use a medium grain Cajun country rice, which is grown here in Louisiana. But this is jasmine rice. That's all I've done. Now we're about to wash the rice. Okay, all I'm going to do, now I'll do this 3 or 4 times. I just put cold water, tap water, in my pot. I move my rice around. Some people don't wash their rice. I do. All right, this is number 3. And then this is going to be number 4. Great. Now, here is the key to rice. Okay, you saw me add the water. Using this first mark of your index finger, okay, this knuckle here. This is how I was taught to make rice. You're going to take, and at the tip of your finger, when it meets the rice, the water should meet this knuckle, okay? And normally I have to add water, and I do, okay? I'm going to add just a little bit. Level it out. Now, it goes a lot quicker if you're not doing a video. Set your fingertip on the top of your rice. My water is right there at that knuckle, and we're ready to go to the stove. Okay, we're at the stove, and I'm going to add some salt. This is going to be to your preference, and I'm going to give it a whirl. Now, I have this eye sitting almost at a high, but you see this eye back here, because I'm using an electric stove, and not a gas, I work off of 2 burners. If this was a gas, once it came to a boil, I would be turning it down. But I'm going to turn this back burner on a number 2. Well, it's between a 2 and a 1. Okay, you don't want it too low. But all I'm going to do is bring this up to a rapid boil. So once it gets to that part, we're going to move to the back burner. Okay, we've reached the hard boil state. And I let it boil like this maybe 30 seconds when it's wanting to crust. And as in coming over the pot, we're going to put it to the back burner. I'm sitting right at a number 2. And we're going to walk away. Let me turn that burner off. We're going to walk away for 20 minutes. It's just that simple. At the 20-minute mark, turn the eye off or turn your burner off and let it sit another 5 minutes. And you're ready to go. Now, the oven is preheated at 425. I'm doing just a small batch for video purpose and, to give us a biscuit. I have a small iron skillet. This is a 6-inch. In here, I've got about a teaspoon of bacon grease. You don't have to use bacon grease. You can use vegetable oil. But you asked how I make my drop biscuits, and this is how I do it. So this is going in the oven, and it's getting hot while we mix our 2 ingredients. To this bowl, I've got about a heaping cup of self-rising flour. It's just us 2, so I don't need to make a large batch of biscuits for the sake of the video. So that's just a heaping cup of self-rising flour. There's really no measurements to the whole milk. I just put enough in to start with, and I can tell by the consistency, as you will be able to tell as well, without splattering flour everywhere. Okay, that is too thick. Thought I had the lid on. Add a little bit more. Now, if you go too heavy with the milk, you can always add more flour. Okay. I smell that bacon grease heating up in the oven in that skillet. All right. That's still a little bit thick. There's so many ways to making drop biscuits. This is just the way that I do it, and it turns out perfect every time. Now, I do beat mine. Some people don't. Now, if I was rolling it, it would be light-handed. But we're making drop biscuits, so you don't have to be light-handed. All right, let's see where we're at. Because I really want y'all to get a visual. That way you can master drop biscuits that you asked me about. I think I am where I want to be. Yep. Let me stir it a little bit more. All right, I think I'm actually going to add a little bit more flour. So you see, I went a little bit too much on the milk. And that's why I want to show y'all, without cutting the camera off, how you don't mess drop biscuits up. I don't know how you could. All right, that's where I want it. Okay, can you see that? See how it just plops? That's what you want. So that was, if I was guesstimating, guys, 3/4 of a cup of milk, maybe a cup and a half of self-rising. Yep, and that's where I want it. Now let's get our skillet out. Okay, see that bacon grease? I'm gonna whirl it around, but I'm gonna add some bacon grease to my biscuit mix, and we're gonna give this a whirl. Just like that. But you can omit the bacon grease, okay? Y'all want to know how I do it. Now, I'm sure you can see. And now we're fixing to drop our biscuits, and it's going to look like a glob, okay? And that's just a drop biscuit. Remember, your oven has to be on 425. And remember, drop biscuits are not going to be uniform as if you rolled them out or patted them in your hand. And I might have should have got a larger skillet. But we're going to fix this because I'm going to add. This is how we used to make biscuits when we camped, guys. We used to camp a lot. We would go deer hunting. We had a deer lease. And squirrel hunting out on the river. And this is how I made biscuits. Now, they won't be pretty on the top, but they gonna be pretty on the bottom. In the oven, 425 degrees. And there you have drop biscuits. Ooh, it's hot. Now, this is where you could put butter on. And I'm going to show you the inside. Woo, Lord. All right. I want y'all to look at this. I'm going to let it cool, and we're going to break one open while it's still warm. But look at the bottom. Isn't that gorgeous? And that is how I do drop biscuits. I gave my biscuits just a couple of minutes because they was hot. But here goes. Look at that. Still smoking. Let's see. I want y'all to look at this. Now that is a drop biscuit. And we got a sample. It's just simple. It's soft. See, look. See that? Now we got to check on our rice. And there you have rice. I'm going to smoke the camera up. Whoops. Now, I let it sit 20 minutes with the fire on. Turn the fire off, walked away about 10 minutes. But here's the trick. And then I'm going to set it back over on the stove and let it rest. The longer it rests, the looser the grains get. And there you have perfectly cooked rice. Now, I would scoop it up now and fix a plate of supper. But I like to do mine early. So therefore, come the evening time, it's steamed down, got room temperature, all the grains flake apart. But y'all see, well, you can look on this. See how separated the grains are? See that? I don't know if the camera's showing it. But that is perfectly cooked rice, guys. So you don't need a measure. You don't need a measuring cup. All you need is dry rice and your index finger, and you're off to the races. And that's how I was taught to cook rice. It's just good, guys. And this is how I'm going to teach you, because you requested and I obliged. So I got to go back and work. We've got biscuits. Yes, I done ate half of one. I mean, you know, it's just so good when it's hot or warm. And we've got rice. Now this rice will actually go into the freezer because I have some left over from yesterday. But I won't put it in the freezer for 4 or 5 hours once it cools down. So, as always, stay safe, stay well, and God bless. And I will see you on the next one. It's biscuit time, y'all.